What's up, everybody? This is Patriot Independence. I'm not live. I'm recording a video from my live stream setup, so my little studio here in my house. Today I just wanted to record a video and talk about something that not a lot of people are talking about. And since the Epstein release of the Epstein files of the 3+ million documents, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but Senate and Congress passed a bill, the spending bill, and it's absolutely insane what's in that bill. And they passed it while the whole media landscape is in a frenzy over the Epstein files, which that's some crazy stuff in that. So I will go into detail on another video or on a live of what's actually in those files, because I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff that a lot of people said was a conspiracy theory back, a few years ago, Pizzagate. It's absolutely insane. And then there's also hints and there's some evidence that Epstein might actually still be alive. So yeah, stay tuned for that video. So look at the bill that this Congress just passed, the spending bill that Republicans and Democrats voted on, and only a few people didn't. And when we're in such disarray and upheaval as a country, and we have seen so much waste, fraud, and abuse, yet they still decide to spend way too much money and give our money away. And I'm so sick of paying taxes to then feel like we're being robbed of being able to buy things that we want in order for our government to give our money away. And I'm going to discuss and highlight just some of the things that, I mean, guys, this is going to blow your mind, and how you're not getting represented whatsoever at all. I mean, did you know they didn't even pass the Voter ID Act? They didn't want to bust the filibuster, so they chose to keep it out of this bill when 84% of people in America, which is 90+% of Republicans, want this want this Voter ID Act passed. Even down to 65 to 70% of Democrats want it for the safety of any election, for anyone to win it fairly, and the Republicans couldn't even do that. So we're going to discuss the fact that we have people in the media saying, why in the world did the Republicans drop the ball for people to not pass the Voter ID Act, when overwhelmingly we are not supported whatsoever? And that's just the cold hard truth. We are not supported whatsoever. And this is, without a doubt, taxation without representation. That, if you remember, that was a Boston Tea Party moment. And we're there right now. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And I'm sorry, this video might not seem very good, but I'm just so pissed. I'm so pissed at these people. So I'm going to hear from Glenn Beck and what he stated about the Republicans and how he's done with them. I'm just so done, man. I'm so done with the Republican Party in Senate and Congress. I'm done, because they're wasting and stealing our money. And we have so much wrong in this country, and their focus is always on something else instead of actually helping the people, the citizens, the taxpayers of America, who, like I said, pay taxes, who vote for these people into office, and somehow we're always the ones that get screwed. So we're in tax season. You've paid your property tax on your homes. if you own land, you've paid taxes on your land, and your income tax, and all the other taxes you've paid. Well, let's just go over what your Congress just passed into law and Trump signed. Again, I think that it's one of those things that I don't care what Trump tries to do, he can't win these battles. He's going to have to sign it, and he's going to have to go along with it, because they're just going to pass what he wants. Only if they're only going to pass what he wants if he does what they want. So let's just go over a few of these details, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This came out from what you're seeing on the screen here, came from the Wall Street Apes. Republican Senate leader John Thune now says that he will not put the SAVE Act into this bill because he's scared of the ramifications of the filibuster. So let's take a listen. You can hear it for yourself.
Let's listen here.
Filibuster try to outlast the Democratic minority under current rules. Do you have any expectation that you can succeed with that, given the enormous difficulty of doing that? In fact, the biggest majority has not been able to.
Right. Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions. There are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it, and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will.
So basically, he's stating, I'm going to give the middle finger to all Republicans, to all the conservatives, and benefit the Democrats in the upcoming future. It's basically what he just said. He's so scared of the ramifications. He has no spine. John Thune is a weak rhino, okay? And the sooner you realize that these people are not on our side, the sooner that we can actually formulate a plan to get these people and primary them out of office and get true America First politicians in there. Because these people, like the John Thunes, he's a Mitch McConnell, like he was like Mitch McConnell's right-hand man. Okay, and that's all out there. You can actually go look that up. Okay, so I mean, he's voting with the Democrats basically to not get rid of the filibuster. Now, if you remember, back in 2013, and you can look this up, Harry Reid got rid of the filibuster to push through Obama's appointments. And it's this, the filibuster has been taken out so many times in history that this has happened. And I'm going to be honest with you. Just watch, bookmark it, take a picture, whatever you want to do, and then come back to this video. When Democrats get back in power and they want to pass something, they will get rid of the filibuster. You watch. Mark my words. It will happen. Okay? And it's crazy because right now we have a weak leader with John Thune, and he's choosing to side with the Democrats over his own party and his own voters. And what makes this even more crazy is a total of all parties, all Americans, not like it's close to I think it's 90% of Americans support a requirement of voter ID for voting. This is something that Democrats and Republicans want. White people in America, 85%. Latinos, 82%. African Americans want it. 80% want voter ID. Basically, what we are seeing is people want integrity with the elections, because if you're voting left or right, no matter how you're voting, you want your vote to matter and the person that you are voting for to have a fair chance at winning. So what this represents, just hear me out. You have the majority of Americans wanting one thing, and Congress on both sides chose to vote against it. So that's called, I'm getting taxed with no representation. Taxation without representation. I should not pay taxes this year. You should not pay taxes this year. But you know, if we choose not to pay, we can give all this money away and we can see all this fraud. But if me as a citizen chose not to pay a couple $100, they would come and arrest me, actually send me to jail and charge me with some misdemeanor or felony, depending on the amount. But we can give all this money away in this bill to waste, fraud, and abuse, and knowingly given to people who don't like us. Oh yeah, wait until you hear who we're giving it away to. And when the elected leaders will not pass bills supported by the overwhelming majority, it proves that America's system is completely corrupt and broken. And I think they know that the system is so broken, these elites, the politicians and all this. And things are going to start getting really, really crazy, especially now that AI is starting to take off and AI is starting to replace jobs and all this stuff. So I want you to listen to what Mario Nawfal shared. Listen to how crazy this is. And I've told you guys about this on previous live streams and other videos, that the CEOs and these rich billionaires, they're building bunkers and they're stockpiling them. And ahead of this mass unemployment wave, not only are we seeing the fall of Congress and the failures of so many people because of the letdown of our government, along with the fact of AI coming along and taking people's jobs, we're going to see an unrest like we have never seen before, because politicians that won't even pass bills that Americans want. I mean, let's just take a listen here. So you got CEOs are building bunkers ahead of mass unemployment wave. Dr. Roman, I'm not sure how to say his name, says CEOs are canceling public appearances and building bunkers because they know what's coming. AI models will cross from not good enough to good enough overnight this year, and mass unemployment follows. And now, I don't agree with what they're saying is the easy fix, unconditional basic income. See, that's the whole universal basic income and the socialism. See, I don't agree with that. I believe in a free and fair market, free and fair, open, capitalist market. People can work and make their own dreams possible. It just depends on how hard they work. They can be successful. Okay. It says, tax AI companies fund the safety net. Now, I kind of agree with that. The real problem, unconditional basic earning, billions of people will with nothing to do all day. What happens when the jobs that gave people identity disappear and there's a billion other people trying to relax in the same lake. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with on that, but I do agree with the underlying point of it, that the CEOs and these rich elites, they can see the writing on the wall. Okay? They know what's coming. All right? So let's get back into the tax stuff, okay, in this bill. All right? So Thomas Massey exposed what was in this spending bill. And this is going to get your blood boiling. Okay? Check this out. So we just sent $3.8 billion to Israel. I mean, do they really need more money? I mean, am I missing something here? After we have already sent so much money to them already? I mean, they're doing fine on their own. And I don't think they need our taxes to do that. Ultimately, we're the ones that need that money. Okay? It's just insane. It's absolutely insane. But that's just the beginning. They sent $1.5 billion to Egypt. Okay? Now, Egypt just built this monster fence, like a wall thing. Okay? Egypt doesn't take all these refugees from Palestine, Egypt. You know, Egypt has their own things going on. And we gave them more money for what? They're already so filthy rich. What do they need our money for? Okay. $2.1 billion to Jordan. All right. Why did we give money to Jordan? Does anybody know? This one's going to get you going too, because this one's got me pissed. $5 billion for refugee cash health care and daycare. So for all those Republicans who told you they're going to vote to help the integrity of the Americans and make sure that the money of taxation goes to Americans' benefit, they lied to you. Because $5 billion is going to refugees that we have here, like the Somali refugees, like Afghanistan refugees, like all the people that we brought into this country, Venezuelans, Haitians, all these people, they're getting $5 billion of cash, healthcare, and daycare. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. But while you're struggling to pay for your healthcare, struggling to pay for your daycare, and they're struggling to have money in your pocket, they're getting money to go to Walmart. They're getting money to pay for their own daycare. They're getting money to sit at home. Okay? And this is all was passed after this big craze of the Epstein documents. Okay? It's like the big smoke and mirrors thing. They put this out, but quietly did something else. See, everybody else was wondering what was going on behind closed doors. What did they not want you to see? And I think it was this. I think it was this fucking spending bill. I'm sorry. Okay? Let's move on. 700 million went to foreign countries to fight HIV and AIDS. How many times have we seen money go to Africa for this thing from malaria or HIV, and you realize it's just fraudulent? It never went to the people. You know, they say less than 10% of this money actually goes to those people. So where's all the other money go? Have you asked yourself that? I think it's been laundered back to the people sitting in DC. Okay? So, $315 million for the CIA propaganda arm. So we got to give money to the CIA to propagandize its own people in America. I'm so done with these people, man. I don't understand why we give money to our own government by them taxing us to then give it to an intel agency that's going to feed false information and propaganda to make us feel one way or another. That is 1984 George Orwell kind of stuff, and it's very, very dangerous. But that's not all. Here's some things that they didn't address. Okay? While they addressed all that other stuff, all that junk, taking my money, your money, okay? This is your money too, all right? Sending it all overseas, and they sent it all to Israel and Jordan and Egypt, and $5 billion for refugees. They worried about all those people, okay? But then this is what they blocked, all right? So we still have kill switches in new vehicles, which, if you remember, this was passed in 2021 under Biden, giving the government the ability to deactivate your car without due process. Now, I've said this before. I think I said it on X. Could this be why they're trying to push so hard of this hybrids and electric vehicles and stuff? Because if you think about it, a lot of those newer vehicles, like these, like let's say the all electric ones, they got so much tech built into them, they could literally be shut off just like that. All right. But let's move on. Okay. So, no fix to the FISA and the warrantless spying, which under Section 702 of FISA, it allows warrantless surveillance of people inside and outside of the USA, despite the fact that the law isn't supposed to be used to target Americans. But they do it anyway. All right. Next, no CBDC banned. All right. And I've seen some people saying, oh, well, why would they want people to ban CBD? See, they're thinking about the hemp CBD, but no. The CBDC is central bank digital currency. All right. And they're going, this whole thing of the central bank digital currency where they're going to save your money and keep the dollar safe, meaning there could still be, in fact, a new currency coming. Just like I've told you before, I think the whole system is getting ready to collapse. And no SAVE Act to prevent illegals from voting and make sure that we have real, true elections. Republicans have the House, the Senate, the presidency. They can remove the filibuster to get things done. And yet they passed everything you didn't want and passed everything they and the Democrats wanted, because it's a way that they can make money off the backs of the American people. So Congress didn't represent its people because 83% of Americans want voter safety and legit citizens only to vote. So again, taxation without representation. Isn't it just crazy? You're being taxed without representation. But a representative from Florida, Kat Cammack, said instead of getting the SAVE Act, we instead added more funding for DEI gender surgeries and on minors, by the way, and more NGO funding. She says we're funding facilities in Eastern Maine's healthcare systems to basically allow for minors to get these surgeries. We're also providing for health services for late-term abortions. We're also providing for children's hospitals to do more trans surgeries. Okay? Let's check this out, because this is just crazy. And now, mind you, this was passed as the Epstein stuff came out. Okay? Like a switch of the hand, you know what I mean? Well, they put this really big thing out right here, which the Epstein stuff is a big deal. And as I stated to you earlier, I'm going to probably do a video or a live stream dedicated to what's in there. All right. But it's just so crazy. We're also providing more pediatric gender affirming cares and other hospitals like Rady Children's Hospital. So your Congress, okay, your Republicans, they're going to go home and they're going to lie to you, telling you that they passed this great bill to keep the government open, keep the government from shutting down. All while it was an absolute waste and completely against our morals and values. This is why America is broken. This is like I was telling you earlier. When they vote against you and ultimately take your money and still rob you blind and still tax you for it, then we're living in a broken system. Okay? And this is going to cause an uprising. That's why I was telling you a little bit ago, all these billionaires are building these bunkers because they know it's getting close. They know shit's about to hit the fan. Okay? I mean, why else are they building them? Why else are they stockpiling them? They're literally like filling these things up. Why? Because they know. Because they can see the writing on the wall. And if they allow things to collapse or allow all this fraud and waste to go unpunished and allow Americans to keep being taxed without representation, you're going to see marching in the streets from both sides. You're going to see mass civil unrest. That's why they're building these bunkers. That's why they're stockpiling and prepping, because they know it's about to go down. For example, Sam Altman built a bunker and stockpiled it. Zuckerberg, if you remember, built a bunker on an island, stockpiled it. Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, they both have these super yachts that are like floating fortresses that can sustain indefinitely. It doesn't need to come back to land once it takes off. All while we the people are getting robbed by our own government. Mike Johnson and John Thune should be embarrassed to show their faces. So don't let your politicians come back to your state and your city or your town and tell you how good they have done for you in the swamp. Okay? Because they're lying through their teeth. They're going to be lying right to your face. Okay? So let's take a listen to what Kat Kamek says.
Good morning, everybody. Congresswoman Kat Kamek here. It is 5 a.m., Tuesday, February 3rd. And today the House will end the government shutdown by passing the Senate appropriations package without the SAVE Act attached. Instead, We're getting a pinky promise from the Senate that they are going to reform the filibuster from a zombie filibuster to a talking filibuster. First, that sound you're hearing, yes, I am pumping because I am a multitasking mama with a 5-month-old and I gotta feed the baby. But I wanted to jump on here and let you guys know what the heck is going on because it is so important that you get the process so that you can hold Washington accountable. Let's talk about the filibuster. Right now, we have a zombie filibuster in the Senate, which means you don't even have to be present in the chamber in order to keep it going indefinitely, which is why that 60-vote threshold is rarely reached on these bills that the House sends over to the Senate. But a talking filibuster would require that you are in the chamber and you talk until you drop, at which point that would end the debate, and then you would have the vote. Here's the kicker. The Senate has had this capability all along, so it makes you wonder, why haven't you used it before? Why haven't they been doing this? Good question to ask.
I'll tell you why. Because they're the Republicans that are there. They're rhinos. Okay, they're Republicans in name only. All right. Once you realize that, it'll make all the sense in the world. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anything else but enriching themselves and scratching the Democrats' back. So that way they hope that the Democrats are going to scratch their backs.
The other thing is, this entire appropriations package is riddled with billions of dollars of earmarks for woke progressive programs
Take a listen.
Those rooted out and that are fundamentally against what we've been talking about. It's got gender mutilation, gender ideology, DEI, NGO funding, all this stuff. And to add final insult to injury, nearly half of the programs that are being appropriated have not received an authorization from Congress, or their authorizations expired over a decade ago. So it's kind of crazy. And the final thing I'll say on the SAVE Act, this is critical. 19 states around the country, they issue driver's licenses to non-citizens. And of those 19, 15, they do automatic voter registration. So if you want secure elections, you have to prove your citizenship in order to vote. This is a no-brainer. It is not controversial. It's common sense, but people get caught up in the process and they don't understand the process. But when you do, you become unbullshittable. So to all my friends out there who want to drain the swamp, stay skeptical, and I'll see you guys soon.
So yeah, that's pretty crazy, right? In the dead of night and all, and you know, while everybody's focused on Epstein, Congress did this. Okay. So now let's take a look at what Glenn Beck said, because he nailed it on this. All right. So by passing this one act, the GOP will save the Republic and rescue the GOP. If they fail, we all fail. Okay? 80% of all Americans want this. You need ID for everything except voting. There's only one reason not to pass this, and I think we all know what it is. And I think I know what it is. I think you know what it is too. GOP, save the Republic, save the Republican Party from itself, pass the SAVE Act. Okay? Take a listen here.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of
It's like I was telling you earlier.
Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is...
So it's overwhelmingly supported by close to 90% of the country on both sides of the aisle. Democrats want it and Republicans want it. Okay? It's not a partisan issue. Okay? It's wanted on both sides. You need an ID for everything. But when it comes to elections and voting, determining the future of this country, you don't need an ID? I mean, come on, man. The Democrats and the rhinos, they want to scratch each other's backs and continue to make tons of money off the American people and keep the people in Senate and Congress that they want in. That's why I think, like what he said, I think we all know what it is. I just told you what I think it is. They want to keep scratching each other's backs, making tons of money off the American people, all while keeping people in Senate and Congress that they want in. People that have the backing of AIPAC and all these other big political organizations. Like, they want to keep out the people. Like let's say if I wanted to run for Congress or Senate, I couldn't. I wouldn't even get the support to even run, because it's a club. It's a big club and you're not in it. All right? It's a corrupt system. It's a big club, and we ain't in it. I'm sorry. That's why this system is broken. And these rhinos love to say, "Oh, we're fighting for you, and we're fighting the Democrats, and we're trying to save America," all while they go out to dinner or for drinks afterwards with these people that they're on the news talking smack about, laughing about how they are robbing us blind and robbing our future generations blind as well. Because the more debt they create, it's taking from my children's children and my grandchildren's children. Like, it's robbing their future as well. Okay? And it's robbing your future generations' future as well. It's robbing everything. It's robbing everyone for generations. And Republicans could have actually done something like passing the SAVE Act, or, addressing these other things like I stated to you earlier, like the CBDC and the FISA and all of that. They could have done something that we wanted, and not one thing in this bill actually benefits us on the conservative side. The Democrats don't even hold power, and they're still getting what they want. Make that make sense. But that's all I've got for you today. I'm going to try to get this video out probably tonight or tomorrow. You might see it upload tonight. I'm recording it on the 6th. Okay? So, yeah, if you haven't already, drop a like, comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me, I want to know what you all think. What are your opinions? Are you as furious as I am? Let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, don't forget to subscribe. All right? Until next time, stay safe. God bless. Keep on prepping. Patriot Independence out.